People, are you living or are you just existing? Are you complaining or are you conquering? Are you going to tremble or are you going to thrive? It makes no difference, because right now you're tuned into Derrick Live. What's going on, everybody? How are you all doing? I hope everyone had a wonderful Thursday, July 20th, 2017. I hope, like I always say, I hope you got some goals accomplished. I hope you worked hard, and I hope you had some fun along the way. You all, we're going to get right into it today. I want to remind those who don't know that this week, according to the White House, is Made in America Week. Come on, somebody repeat that with me. Made in America Week. What is that? That means that the 50 states that comprise this wonderful country have an opportunity to showcase their products, their manufacturing capabilities at the White House. And we find that you will go there and see different products, different tractors and beef from Nebraska, a lot of things going on regarding showcasing the manufacturing skills of the American states. And I just wanted to tell you all that there is an executive order that I want you to be educated on. So let me tell you what's going on here. So when I was looking at the YouTube clip today of the speech that Donald Trump gave and the involvement that his daughter's having regarding this showcasing of products, I definitely wanted to highlight where this all stems from. So you all, if you just lend me your ear for a few minutes, I just want to let you all know what's going on. All right. So the presidential executive order on Buy American and Hire American is something that you can research. And when I was researching it, I saw where this is what the intent of it is. It's in Section 2, policy is as such. It says, in order to promote economic and national security and to help stimulate economic growth, create good jobs at decent wages, strengthen our middle class, and support American manufacturing and defense industrial bases, it shall be the policy of the, and when I got to this, I thought it was going to talk about the American people. I thought it was going to talk about the policy that the companies need to adhere to. But no, it said it shall be the policy of the executive branch to maximize consistent with law through terms and conditions of federal financial assistance awards and federal procurements, the use of goods, products, and materials produced in the United States. I read a lot of policy, but let me break it down to you right here. So essentially what our president is saying in this executive order is not businesses, not American people, not the average consumer. Hey, you executive branch, the federal government, I want you all to ensure that when you are going after federal procurements and other opportunities to spend your dollars, we need you to spend dollars on American products, American services, buy American, hire American. That is his proclamation. And so what I want to tell you right now is it is strategic in the fact that he is saying that the federal government is supposed to do that. Pay attention, you all. When we talk about Buy American and Hire American in writing, in his policy, this is strictly for the executive branch. You know, the president, the vice president, the Department of Agriculture, the Department of Education, the Department of Defense. He's saying, hey, federal government employees, those that are running this country with the arm of the government, you need to buy American and hire American. This is a wonderful political topic that we need to exalt. I find it interesting that, yes, he is ensuring that the federal government is ensuring that they buy American and hire American, but We have an issue, you all. We have an issue because a lot of Americans in this country believe that that philosophy that's being applied to the federal government should be applied in all areas of our well-being, of our life. Meaning a lot of people think that all businesses should buy American and hire American. A lot of people think the people on your street and the people in your community should buy American and hire American. They're saying away with this notion of everything has to be bought from China, away with everything, saying everything needs to be bought from India and Canada and all these other countries that are taking our American dollars. I'm trying to tell you all, these are what some people in your community, some people in Washington, some people in your jobs are thinking right now. But I came to tell you all today just a couple of things because I love this country. I fought for this country. I believe this is one of the freest countries in the world. But I want to let you know that oftentimes a philosophy that seems to be right is not always realistic. I'm going to say that one more time. A philosophy that seems to be right is not always realistic. If you're just tuning in to me, if you're watching the replay of this, what I want to tell you is we're talking about the notion of buy American, hire American. It is in the week that we're having right now called Made in America week that we are highlighting that philosophy. So like I said, I'm going to say it like this, when we are operating in fantasy land, when we believe that everything that we touch and everything that we buy should be from America and not from China, not from Russia, not from any of these other countries, I came to tell the American people that that is something that is in fantasy land. How do I know it's in fantasy land? Because first of all, you find in this order that he is requiring that the federal government abide by these processes, not the American people. I know this because let me take you all just back to a little history of what we were founded on in our society, our way of doing things, economical wise. We are a free enterprise. Free enterprise, for those who don't understand, essentially all it is a society's economy that is run based on profits and revenues being dictated by private sector. Okay, private sector, private companies, public sector is the federal government. So we don't live in a communist society whereby the economy is dictated on whatever the government is funding, whatever the profits that the companies are getting going straight to the government. We don't operate on any of those. We operate on a free enterprise. So when you have a free enterprise, that means you can buy, you can sell, you can conduct your business however you want to. Now you have to abide by criminal laws and things of that nature. But in terms of where you're going to buy your supplies from, I'm talking to some business owners out there who know what I'm talking about. In terms of where you're going to hire your people, where you're going to buy your supplies from, you are not mandated to buy American products. Why? Because let's just face it, I always say this on my broadcast, oftentimes it always comes to the dollar. It always goes back to the dollar. We live in a society, those who are Americans, we live in an American society whereby the almighty dollar is greater than the almighty government. Yeah, it is. That is the hard truth, but it is the truth. And so when I said that to say, I say that yes, you're going to be hearing all throughout the discussions on TV that yes, we want to bring business back to America. And we want to make sure that our farmers are going back to work. We want to make sure that those folks building automobiles and electronics in the United States get our business. And I believe that is wonderful, but I'm also a realist. And I tell you what, if we are living in this free society and we are allowing business owners to conduct their business the way they want to, they have the freedom and the opportunity and the authority to go to whatever marketplace location they want to. That is just the hard truth. And so when we talk about, if you're just tuning in, I'm going over the presidential executive order, buy American and hire American. I'm actually expounding on that because when you understand people talking about why the importance is here to buy American, we always point to Foreign labor standards allow unsafe worker conditions in many countries. When you buy American, you support not only American manufacturers, but also American workers. Basically, yeah, you have some horrible working conditions in some other countries, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. Usually what can be sold here in America can be sold for about $100, probably more, cheaper in another country. So that's why business owners exercise their freedom to go and get business elsewhere, or rather buy labor and products elsewhere than here. You all just stay with me. I'm trying to bring it home, and I know you're saying you're rattling off a lot of information. I am, but trust me, in the end, I'm going to bring it home and tell you exactly how it can affect you and why you should pay attention and just think about this whole buy American, hire American. And so the other argument when talking about why we want to buy American, jobs shipped abroad almost never return. When you buy goods made in the USA, you help keep the American economy growing, and that is definitely true. Some of you all have some relatives, that have always ensured and had their faith in an American company, maybe a factory worker, maybe custodial services, whatever, the job is. You will put your allegiance to that job and felt as though, hey, don't give my job to a foreign employee or anything. I need to work here. We need to keep the dollars in our country. That keeps us strong. It keeps our defense budget strong because we keep the money in the country, which means we can get more taxes to the government and so on and so forth. So, yes, those are the arguments, the top arguments when we talk about reasons why to buy U.S.-made products. And some of y'all are looking at me right now and you're trying to act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, come on now. There are some times where you go with foreign products before you go with USA products. Prime example, my wife will not let any other brand of TV come into this house but a Samsung. Yeah. And you know what? If a lot of TV manufacturers that are based in America found that out about my wife, they would be protesting in the outside of my driveway, because we are not employing or keeping any business in the American company when it comes to electronics. We're not. And you know what? It's not just my example. That's your example too. When you are tight with money and you want to make sure you get the best deal and sometimes the better quality, you go with different products that may not be offered and manufactured in the United States of America. And so people, especially our representatives in Washington, are trying to crack down on that. And so that's why we arrived at where we are right now. And so what we want to talk about right now is, I got to talk about, before I talk about outsourcing, I got to lift up this idea of imports and exports. Come on, somebody say that with me. Imports and exports. I got to take you back to your economics class. Some of you all took it in college. Some of you all took it in little portions of it in high school maybe. But we got to talk about imports and exports. You all know what an import is. An import is essentially, let's give you an example of the United States. An import is when we accept products coming from other countries. Export is when we use our grit and our manufacturing skills and make a product, then we ship it overseas to somewhere else. I'm going to bring it home to you all. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but you have these things called trade deficits and trade surpluses. You all know that anytime you have a surplus of anything, that's usually a good sign. But when you have a deficit of something, that means something bad is usually on the way. So let me just define it for you. What a trade deficit is, and you all know what trade is. Trade is essentially somebody who doesn't live in this country, who's a member of another country, trading their products, offering their products for us to consume, for us to purchase. And so, yes, we're going to tax them on it because oftentimes they sell those products for lower prices. So we try to make up the difference by issuing a tariff or a tax on that. So let me go back to it, though. When we talk about trade deficits is basically when we're talking about the USA, when you are sending more out I'm sorry, no, back up. When you are accepting more in than what you are sending out. So yeah. In the United States, we are very famous for sending out aircraft, jets. The aviation market started in the United States, and so we are known to have exports of aircraft, right? But we are more so known to receive things such as clothing and electronics and beer and different automobiles from other countries, and so we would call those imports. And so if we're ever in a situation, I believe we are right now, if we're ever in a situation where we are receiving more in this country, more than we are pushing out in the form of exports, that causes a trade deficit. And I know you all at home are saying, what you talking about? That doesn't bother. That may happen on Wall Street. It may happen on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., but that doesn't have anything to do with my block, with my community, with my home. Just wait a minute. So what happens is, when we as a country get to the point where we are accepting too many things, we're accepting China's products, and we're not sending off a lot of exports on our own as a country, then here we go. Then our dollar starts to depreciate. Some of you all have heard the terms of exchange rates. Those things are very important. Let me break it down. If you don't understand anything else, you will understand this. I know when you pull out your money, when you work hard and you get your check and you get your dollars in your wallet, I know for a fact that you want that dollar, when it is compared to other currencies in the world, I know you want that dollar to be one of the strongest currencies ever. You want, well, let's just take an example, Mexico. You want Mexico, the pesos, you want those pesos to you want a Mexican to have to be able to furnish like 100 pesos to equal a dollar. That's not the exchange rate, but come on now. You want that dollar to be powerful. You want to go to these third world countries. You want to go on these cruises. You want to go to these places, and you want to basically ball out. You want to act like you're a baller over there because you got $50 in your pocket, but you're able to buy so many things in these other countries. Why? Because it seems as though your dollar is appreciating and it is strong and it has value. But let me tell you, trade deficits oftentimes lead to the depreciation of the dollar. Come on now, let me just break it down a little bit more. When we as a country, I know we always like to think about ourselves, but when we as a country are operating in a trade deficit, that means and that leads to our dollar being weakened. The dollar that you work so hard for, it causes the dollar to decrease in value, to be depreciated. And I know this for a fact because let's just take, like I said, China, for example. China exports a lot of things. Come on, you all know, you see these products that say made in China. They export a lot of things from their country into our country. So what China can essentially say is, oh man, we just export all the things to USA, and they don't even compare in terms of what we export to them. When we look at everything that they export to us, they're on this level. But when we look at the things that we export to them, we're on this level. You know what? Their dollar is not that strong enough. So when we talk about exchange rates and what is it worth, you'll find that at the deeper the trade deficit, the more the dollar becomes depreciated. And I'm going to bring it home to you right now. What does that mean for you? When your dollar, my dollar too, is depreciating in value, and when we hold it across the whole spectrum of the marketplace, on an international level, we often find that when we go to the store to buy foreign products, and when we order things on eBay, and when we go on Amazon and everything else, and we're buying something foreign because we don't want to have something that, it was built in our soil, we find that it becomes more expensive. Yeah, so I know you thought it was just about what the country is doing and the country's finances and the country's debt, but that is the purpose of this broadcast, is to inform you how what happens on a grand level in our society and the leaders that lead us, the decisions that they make oftentimes, and the decisions that we make, honestly, as citizens, oftentimes affect our wallets. That's the bottom line. If you're just paying attention, if you're just logging on, if you're just watching the replay of this video, this is Derrick Cash. This is Derrick Live. This is a weekly episode, a weekly broadcast, and we are talking about Buy American, Hire American. Just want to talk to you about some things that I learned today, and you will find, because I don't want you to be uneducated, you will find this term NAFTA being recited on the news and in the papers and on the internet. You'll find this term NAFTA, and you'll find our President Donald Trump talking about NAFTA. Well, NAFTA stands for North American Free Trade Agreement, and what it is in 1994, it was an agreement between the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So we have three countries that basically said, you know what? We used to have all these big barriers that didn't allow us to trade so frequently as we should have and as we could have. You know what? In 1994, 2 years before my hometown hosted the Summer Olympics, ATL, I'm sorry, I go off on a tangent. In 1994, basically the leaders of those countries said, let's put down all the barriers to trade. And you know what? If you got some wonderful fruit that you want to export to the United States, that you want to trade with us, Mexico, go right ahead. You know, Canada, if you got some products that you want to continue to export and trade with us, you know what? We're lowering the barriers. So go ahead and do it. And so it sounded like a great idea, but then we started seeing that, you know what? Because so many exports from those countries were going into our countries and we couldn't reciprocate as fast enough, like I said before, we started seeing those prices increase. We started seeing the things that we were taking for granted before. We can go to the dollar store or whatever store we want to do and purchase some foreign products. We saw the prices kind of creeping up, and oftentimes, more times than none, we saw that those things that were usually being manufactured in the United States, we found ourselves relying on these other countries to provide for us. And so, come on now, you know that as a sovereign nation, as a wonderful, mighty, powerful nation, we want to have some level of independence. So those are the things that you need to be abreast of when we talk about NAFTA. And so our president is oftentimes saying that NAFTA led to more illegal immigration. This is not a broadcast about illegal immigration. I won't go down that lane in much detail, but I will just continue to remind you that Donald Trump is wanting to renegotiate NAFTA. So that is NAFTA. Okay, so just as a recap, because I wanted to talk to you about two things. I wanted to talk to you about buying America and hiring America. We talked about buying America. In the White House, they are showcasing the Made in America week this week. And they are trying to encourage everybody, to purchase American products, to bring back the dollars to America. And like I said before, that is a wonderful philosophy. It is honestly a philosophy that is right, but I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, if you're a Libertarian, if you're independent. I will tell all of you all that that philosophy may be right, but it is not realistic. It is not realistic because when you live in a free society, like I've said before, when your modus operandi is capitalism, meaning the government has nothing to do with how the profits are flowing and controlled in the private sector. When that is what you are built on, we have to be able to have freedom to purchase wherever we want to. Now, I am patriotic. Yeah. And here's the thing. Business owners, when they talk about and read this presidential executive order on Buy American and Hire America, even though it doesn't apply to business owners, and business owners will have a decision to make. Consumers will have, no, just business owners. Business owners will have a decision to make. They're going to have to decide, okay, do I want to be patriotic or do I want to be profitable? Quite honestly. And consumers, I will bring the consumers in, the everyday person, you and me and your cousin, whoever. Consumers have to ensure also, do I want to be patriotic or do I want to consider profit? Do I care about what's going on at the federal level, or do I want to care about what's going on in my household? I have a sneaking suspicion that many of us, this is just the truth, the inconvenient truth, that sometimes many of us want to ensure that the bills are being paid in our households before we even consider, are we buying American products? That's just the truth. So I talked about buying American. And if you're just watching the replay again, this is Derrick Cash. I am the host of Derrick Live. This is a weekly broadcast. And today we are essentially talking about what's going on in our White House, which is Made in America Week. Buy American, Hire American. Let me just talk about Hire American for just a second. And you know what? If you're on the line, go ahead and just shout me out. Make sure you let me know you're there. I definitely want to greet you. Let me see if anybody is on the line. Nobody is on the line. So look, I want to just close this out with talking about Hire America. Hire American. I know I'm going to use this O word, this big O word that people hate to use, and that is the word outsourcing. I'm going to say that one more time. Outsourcing. Some of you all right now, you who are watching this broadcast, may not be you, may not be your son, your daughter, your wife, your cousin, but it may be a friend. It may be somebody that you have known in your lifetime that fell victim to outsourcing. What is outsourcing? Outsourcing is essentially when an American company bypasses American candidates and goes to a foreign country to fulfill whatever that American company's requirement is. Come on, you all know what I'm talking about when you call a company that you think you're about to talk to an American voice, working human resources or operations or phone services, whatever it is. But you call and you find somebody who definitely has, and I don't want to stereotype, but this is just my personal experience. You call, you hope, you're thinking that you're going to hear an American voice, but you hear a foreign voice, and not only do they have a foreign voice, they have an American name. What's up with that? Well, what is up with that is an example of outsourcing. Outsourcing, I know it doesn't sound good in the hearts of American people, but there are several reasons why companies in this free enterprise that we live in this capitalistic society that we live in, where nobody can tell us what we're going to do most of the time regarding our business practices, companies outsource for the following reasons. They reduce and control operating costs when improving company focus, when gaining access to world-class capabilities, when freeing internal resources for other purposes, when streamlining or increasing efficiency for time-consuming functions, when maximizing use of external resources, when sharing risks with a partner company. I read a whole lot of verbiage, but let me just give you the simplified version. You all, come on now. If you have a company, I don't know, what is the company? You make socks. Well, if you have a company that you make socks, that is how you earn a living. You know that there's a demand for socks. You know what? You know there's a demand for socks because when men make these videos, you know their feet are cold because they don't have any socks on. So you know that there's a demand for socks out there, right? And so all your life you've been making these socks. And you know what? You've been filling out the orders for the customers. You've been ensuring that you've gone through the warehouse and accounting for all the product that you have. But it seems like every year, your materials seem to be a little bit more expensive, a little bit more expensive, a little bit more expensive. But then you find that there is someone or some other company in another country that can give you these products that can, you know what, make these socks for you. And guess what? You'll save money in the process. Oh, come on now. I know we all love America. Well, most of us do. But I know we are patriotic people, but come on now. As the realist that I am, if I'm a business owner and I can get these the same quality for a cheaper price, you best believe I'm going to outsource my requirement. I'm going to outsource it because it's not about me not being loyal to my country. And I'm thinking as a business person, come on now, what is business about? Business is about the bottom line. If you are concerned about the bottom line, that worker in another country producing your product gets you to that bottom line faster than an American worker would. I know that doesn't feel right. That doesn't, especially for the real patriotic, the real American blood people. I know, I get it. But I'm telling you some hard truths. And you know what? That is the truth here in this free society. Let me tell you what else happened in this free society that a lot of people are talking about when they talk about outsourcing. Outsourcing, some of you all's friends or family members may have been victims to this. So when was this? In 1990. It seems like a lot of these things happened in the 1990s concerning our economy. So in 1990, there was a program entitled the H-1B Visa Program. And what happened? It was intended to help American firms deal with labor shortages in rapidly growing fields that demanded specialized skills such as research, engineering, and computer programming. Essentially, what was happening, especially for the companies in Silicon Valley, what was happening was we had the technology companies who were making all these products. They had requirements for specialized expertise. Some of that expertise was, research, engineering, and computer programming. Had labor categories, requirements that, needed special skills. And what they were finding was they could not find the talent in America. And when I say the talent, I'm talking about readily available, don't have to train them. They've been doing this for a while. They could not find, these companies in America could not find the talent. So what happened was in 1990, President George W. Bush signed the Immigration Act of 1990, the H-1B visa program. And so what it basically allowed companies to do was say, you know what, I'm tired of being frustrated because I can't find the talent in America. Let me go over to India. Let me go over to China. Let me go over to Budapest. Let me go over to wherever I need to go to get these specialized skills. Come on now, if you're a business owner, you know you want the best candidate for the job, especially when you're having problems not finding the talent. And so what it allowed them to do was go ahead and recruit. Let me just break it down to you like this. They were killing two birds with one stone. A company is always about the bottom line, right? So they're trying to get the bottom line, and they're also trying to get the best person for the job, the skill set. Bottom line, skill set. Couldn't get the skill set, so what did they do? They went overseas and got the skill set. And oh, by the way, when you go overseas, most of the time, you will get the skill set for a lower price. So come on now, this is business. Lower price, skill set, sign me up. That's what the business owners were saying. But so what we had was, here's the issue, American workers. And I love my American workers and American people because I'm an American. But what was happening was you had companies like Disney and other companies that I read about that called these initiatives essentially info sharing initiatives, basically saying, hey, sorry, current guy working in this position, you don't even have all the skills we need, and you're costing us too much. I just got this H-1B visa. You know what? I'm going to invite somebody from India to come over here. And oh, by the way, why don't you train them up when they come over here? Just train them up and information share, give them that knowledge that they need, and just make it a little easier for them during the transition. You may get a severance package, but you're gone. So that's what was going on around the country, and I'm saying it so blunt, but I do have empathy, and I do not like that specific situation. I am not a proponent for that. I am a proponent for when the space is void, when we don't have somebody fulfilling the requirement, that instead of searching all over the good USA and you can't find the person with the skill set, I am a proponent for then using this program. But some companies were abusing the program. So if you hear that term again, H-1B visa program, That is what they are talking about. I am going to wrap it up like this, you all, because I thank you all for staying here and honestly entertaining me and giving me your ear regarding this message. Here's the deal with outsourcing, and this is what I want to drive home. Say this all the time, and people want to realize or question why I always talk about entrepreneurship. I am on the quest to be an entrepreneur. Not there yet, but I will get there. Entrepreneurs cannot be outsourced. I don't say things perfectly all the time, so let me just say it to you one more time. If you are an entrepreneur, nobody can outsource you. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you have already established yourself. You have established yourself as someone that's giving great offerings to the marketplace, someone who has the supply and is meeting the demand. You don't have a boss. You don't have people telling you when you can go to lunch and when you can go to vacation and when you can sell this and when you can sell that. You just do it because you know you got skills and you know you have the gumption to go ahead and be an entrepreneur. When you are an entrepreneur, what's going on? Can y'all see me? Yeah. When you are an entrepreneur, you can't be outsourced. So you know what? The time is out for always thinking that, the good government's going to take care of me or the good corporation's going to take care of me. Don't get me wrong. They allow us to live a wonderful life. They allow us to put a roof over our head, clothes on our back, food in our children's stomach. I get that. But come on now, my charge to you today is to never be satisfied in that environment. Always be thinking about how you can venture into the area of entrepreneurship. Because I'm telling you, when you start your own business, when you get up every day and you eat what you kill. When you get into that environment and that way of living, I'm telling you, nobody can outsource you. And so when nobody can send you home packing because you've been replaced by somebody who lives in another country, when nobody can do that, that is such an empowering thing for you. So I'm telling you, I know you got your goals and your foundations and your commitments with your children, and I know you got the mortgage to pay and the car note, and I know you think that AT&T and Honda and who else we got? I don't know. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase. I know we are depending. I'm not just saying you. Or you depending on United States Air Force, United States Army, Department of Energy. I know we are depending on these great organizations to continue this lifestyle that we have. But trust me, you are empowered when you start your own business and you start eating what you kill. All right? You're empowered. Nobody can outsource you. All right, here's the last thing, and then I'm gone, you all. Made in America Week is going on. A lot of leaders, a lot of patriots want everybody to focus on buying American products. Well, that's a great thought, but we understand that that's not the realistic thought. We know it's not the realistic thought because in the executive order that President Trump just issued, he is having that policy be attributed to the federal government, not the common person, not the common corporation. That is what is going on. So it's wonderful to believe that we should live in a society where everything says made in America, but it's not realistic. It's not realistic, but at the same time, it is something that needs to be paid attention to. Yeah, because, you can focus on yourself right now. You can focus on how much money is coming up out of your check and how are you spending your money for you feed your family. Yeah, you can focus on that immediate need right now, but also focus on the greater good, the other thing, the communal. Y'all, I'm getting tongue-tied. The corporate, not in a corporation, but as a whole country, the mass consequence. Focus on that as well. And what is that mass consequence? When we get to a point where we are depending on foreign products and not American products, we get to the point where we often endure a trade deficit. And when we get to trade deficit, that means the power of the dollar will usually be depreciating. And I don't know about you, I don't want anything depreciating. I don't want. That's why cars depreciate, all these other things depreciate, but I don't want my dollar depreciating. So maybe there is some merit into keeping the dollars in the American economy. So you don't hear anything else I said today. You have a decision. Whatever decision you make is going to affect you now, but it will probably affect us later. It's either going to affect you now or us later. All right? So buy American. If you're patriotic and you want to make sure that our money stays in the economy and that our dollar continues to be strong, but I'm going to just be honest with you. If you got to continue to keep your family afloat, if you got to make sure that, your kids will stay in school and kids have wonderful clothes and food in their stomachs and everything, if you got to pick between a foreign product and an American product, you're going to make your decision based on how much money you have in your bank account. You know how to manage your money. So look, until next time, I want to say thank you all. I want to say that I did do this broadcast via my fan page. So anybody who's out there reading or listening to this broadcast, I want you to like the fan page. And you know what? I'm not just going to tell you about it. I'm going to show you about it. So when we look at this screen, let me show the screen here and go to the fan page that we're talking about you all. I want you to, if you liked anything about this broadcast, I want you to go to www.facebook.com/DERRICKACASH. And when you go to that fan page, I want you to go down and I want you to like this page. All right. I want you to like this page. Not only do I want you to like this page, I want you to share this video with many people, as many people as you have, as many people as you know. I want you to share this video and my fan page to all of your friends. And lastly, if you have heard anything that you liked before, it's no secret, you all. If you all want to know what I'm about, I am about speaking. I wake up in the morning loving to speak. It is something that I love to do. Oration is my calling. Communicating is my calling. If you have liked anything about this, I want you to book me as your next speaker at your event. I want you to go to my Facebook fan page and you will see DC Speaks down here at the bottom. DC Speaks, I want to be your next speaker, give you a 1-hour informative lecture or motivational speak. It doesn't matter the topic. I was born to communicate boldly and effectively. So you all, let me get up out of here and make sure that I am seeing you. Let me see. Can I see you all? Y'all bear with me. I'm just trying to make sure that I can get back to you all. Oh, where are you? Where are you, Ecam? There you are. All right. Go back to where I was. Oh, well, you know what? Sometimes these things happen. There we, oh, no, not that. There we go. Okay. Y'all bear with me. I'm a speaker. I'm not the most technical guy all the time. So until next time, be blessed, be motivated, be positive, and most importantly, be informed. Peace out.